Hello there and welcome to Herman Manyora's YouTube channel. My name is Jadel Kabera. I'm happy that you've joined us once again for our usual political conversations. These conversations are simple, truthful and unbiased. Prof also putting them across in a hard-hitting way. How are you doing today?
Fine, thank you, Jad.
I saw you're back on TV.
I'm back on TV, yes.
Yeah?
Yes, after a long break.
After a long break.
Yes.
It seems there's a lot to talk about. We talked about Chebukati last time. Guys say we did a really good analysis.
Before that, some people have been asking me, and I kept meaning to ask you, if you address now, you'll be telling them. Okay. Is it true you are doing live coverage for funerals on YouTube and Facebook?
We have already started.
You started?
We have people that we're shooting for videos on funerals, weddings. We're also doing photo shoots. When you have your conference, we can also cover for you. That's what we're doing. And also for
launches.
Also for content creators too. Those people that want to start their YouTube videos, we're shooting for them. And if you have an event that you're launching something and you'd like videography and photography services, that's what we're doing at Nairobi Review. The email is nairobireviewlimited@gmail.com. nairobireviewlimited@gmail.com. So if you're out there and you have that, if you have an event that you'd like to be covered, write to us and we'll give you the cost. Remember, we meet in the middle. That's our policy. We meet in the middle. It doesn't have to be that expensive. You just come as you are and we will help you with your event. But we were talking about Chebukati.
Yes.
And then we have these revelations from Jeremiah Kioni and the Azimio team. They are claiming that they have a whistleblower from IEBC believing that Raila won these elections, defeating Ruto with close to 57% of the votes cast. People are raising doubts. Mudavadi says, well, this is unbelievable. The number, if you are lying, just lie in a good way, because 57% really. But Jeremiah Kioni says if Raila got 800,000 from Mount Kenya, he doesn't believe that too. So we are waiting for this whistleblower. But the question is, why didn't the whistleblower come out with these allegations when there was a Supreme Court case after the elections? What's your general reading of this whistleblower thing and this debacle?
I don't have an answer to any of those questions you have raised.
Yeah.
And concerns.
Yeah.
What I don't know that our elections have issues all the time. I wouldn't be surprised. That's all I would say. I wouldn't be surprised if it is true that Raila won and by such a percentage. In my own assessment, when I was looking at the election, by June of last year, 2 months to the election, my assessment was Raila had climbed to beyond the 52% mark. I knew in the last pitch, if he did what needed to be done, there would have been no problem with Raila getting to 57%. And I did say as much. Especially because as we approached the election, the Mount Kenya region was becoming more and more receptive to Azimio. Almost to the surprise of many, including the opinion polls conducted by even the other side.
You were calling it the mother effect back then.
Yeah, even opinion polls conducted, internal polls by UDA, Kenya Kwanza, the least they were giving Raila was 30%. And a very objective view of what was going to happen would have had Raila get to as high as 35-40%. Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised if it is true that there was some gerrymandering that then denied Raila of his victory. I wouldn't be surprised. That's not to say what they are saying is true. I'm still going through it. I'm still going through that, the report, the things people are saying. I'm looking at them and making my own conclusions.
You're saying you wouldn't be surprised, but I'd expect...
Because like I said before, I said that I didn't see Ruto winning that election. I said it. So if it turns out that is the case, then surely then I would have been right.
You're speaking from a 50-50 angle, but pre-elections, I would expect that you'd be amongst the people that say this report probably has some truth to it.
No, I'm saying, something of this nature, of this magnitude, one really needs to take time to look at it. Even the Mudavadi was saying, he also gave us another one, 2017. Yeah. You remember, he's the one who was reading the figures. Yeah. Yeah. So it is easier to say when you are from the other side to rubbish what these people are saying. Yeah. But what I know, which has no doubt, these elections were not free and fair. That one I have no doubt about. I can debate anybody, including the bench from the Supreme Court. They can come here We go somewhere in a workshop or seminar, we discuss, and I show them simple how this election could not have been free and fair. That I can tell them.
Before you tell me,
I can argue and debate anybody under the sun, anybody.
Is the question of opening the server, because it's back again, opens the servers for audit to challenge whistleblower. This is Azimio telling IEBC from Kalonzo and Martha Karua. They had a presser, I think, yesterday. And the question was, they were asked to open the server during the Supreme Court case that was ongoing in September, but it wasn't opened. The question is now, is this the right time to look at these servers? And why do you think it's so difficult? Because from 2013, the question of servers has been there. Why is it so difficult to open these servers for the accusers?
You know, if opening will reveal the truth, then if the elections are manipulated, then those who manipulated will have a problem opening the servers. I'm saying if opening the servers will reveal the truth, and there are those who manipulated the elections are in charge of opening, will they open? That's why even I don't understand the Supreme Court. I simply don't understand, because that was at the core of the problem in 2017. And that's why the elections were suspended. And then the Supreme Court didn't seem to take that matter very seriously.
Even during the case that was there?
Including defending mathematics. The Supreme Court was defending mathematics. That IBC did not have the capacity, which is laughable, of course. Capacity to do what? An election management system, to transmit results. I have said first-year students doing physics, not even computer science, can do it for you. Boys in the river road can do it for you. Our whole Supreme Court tells us IBC did not have the capacity. And yet the same IBC nullified the previous election on the basis of the same. How could they, so there are so many answers. And therefore, if you look at this election, even without how correct this whistleblower could be, the issues are there.
So
that doesn't mean the whistleblower is saying the truth. I haven't said that because I haven't conclusively looked at it.
And actually, they haven't given.
But what I'm not details. In doubt of is that the elections were not free and fair. That's what I'm not in doubt of.
From where
and then the Supreme Court judgment left a lot of questions. That again, I'm not in doubt, and I'm wishing to debate anybody under the earth, under the sun in this world. And even above.
That's why people are asking why the ruling was made without the servers being open, despite the fact that lawyers went out and said they were denied access to some of the servers.
And even some things, for example, this is very interesting. There was a form which gives the final result, that's at 7C or something. When the people went for scrutiny, they were denied. They were told it will be taken to the Supreme Court under seal. So I think it was taken to the Supreme Court for the consumption of the Supreme Court. It never happens like that anywhere in the world. No. The bench cannot access information on its own and make a decision. How? Every information that will help make a decision in a court must be presented in court. It can be on camera or in camera, but it must be presented in the court. You as a bench cannot look at some information and make independent decisions. No. So, including the letter saying you cannot access the mathematics platform because of, what do you call it?
What?
The intellectual property rights.
Oh,
and what How did you present yourself to manage an election system, which is a public thing for Kenyans, and still say there are certain things you can't share with the Kenyans, your clients?
Private.
So what was the Supreme Court looking at?
So for someone watching this now and looking at, firstly, because I'm talking about the servers first, if the servers are not open, is this a direct show that there was something wrong in the elections?
I wouldn't say there was anything wrong, but it would lend credence to those who are saying there was something wrong.
Okay.
Their point becomes stronger. To say something was wrong is to say, I've seen it. What I'm saying, the process to me is doubtful. What I'm saying, the Supreme Court judgment doesn't convince me. What I'm saying, the election was not free and fair. But I'm not saying, if the election was not free and fair, that Ruto did not win. I'm saying I doubt that he won.
Now that there's, you're saying you doubt
Yes.
because you don't have any evidence
I don't
yet.
have the evidence.
Now, for the question now is what can be done, because there's this whistleblower now. We already have a president, and Azimio wants to take this full force, saying they're waiting for Raila to come back from South Africa. What can really be done for them? Is this going to be taken to the people, as you usually say?
There are many things that can happen. People can ignore and move on. Say, well, it has happened. Milk is split. The process of reversing something like this is too difficult, too chaotic. And people just move on. People can also demand, fine, you continue being president until 2027, but on condition we make sure we right the wrongs. We don't come across this issue of servers and of mathematics and of JPEG getting back to PDF and such.
Yeah.
Okay? We can, that's another option. The other option, as you would know, is people can make little noise, and that noise may bring nothing. You see, the option that is a little worrying is that this thing can lead into mass action. At a time the country is going under very serious economic hardships and a very unstable political environment, that option looks very likely, but to me is the least desirable because it is destructive.
What is the
we cannot afford that.
What is the big problem? What is the danger, if there is, with people questioning the legitimacy of President William Ruto as our president? Because we saw that with Biden's case in the US when Trump was saying they rigged the election and still nothing happened and Biden is still president. Is there a danger posing now for the president if Azimio comes up with enough evidence to prove to the people that he is not suit and he's not the person who's supposed to be?
You know, once somebody has been sworn in, whatever you give from a legal constitutional point doesn't change anything. You cannot table evidence here which was not enough to convince the Supreme Court and say Ruto will vacate office. From a legal point of view or constitution, there's no way, nothing can change.
Okay.
He will remain president. But there are issues of legitimacy. If that evidence is so overwhelming, so convincing, then it will create legitimacy issues hanging over his head. And no president is ever safe with legitimacy issues. And that's why Uhuru went into the handshake with Raila. Because legitimacy issues are dangerous to any president, to any government. But the worst is that can then fuel the mass action, which, like I've said, is not the best thing for the country. Because it's dangerous. So I've said this, and I think people like the president don't understand. They think they have any power over people when they go out in the streets.
But you know,
not in the 21st century. You don't have any power over even 20,000 people in Nairobi.
I'm saying when you say
they
that,
can shake you as the president and because you can't kill them. What do you do?
When you look at the reception he got in Luo Nyanza,
yes,
and you look at how the country is currently, it seems as if he knows how to deal with the people without going through the leaders of these people, which we assume to be Raila Odinga for the opposition side.
That's what you might think, but it could be deceptive.
How so? How so?
Let's say, because your starting point is the fresh revelation that he did not win.
Yes.
Let's say there were people
accusations
who were so angry that their election had been stolen, but with the passage of time they have come to accept this thing is gone. They are moving on. But don't you think this new revelation can refire them and recharge them? Assuming they have even accepted him. Assuming the evidence you saw in Nyanza was of acceptance. And if it was that people have accepted Ruto, why would he the following day move and talk about the Chapukati issue in the manner he did? Making people like Orengo look very useless, very foolish actually. I
think that is the question you are answering. Yeah. You yourself don't understand why.
Right. I mean, what we saw from Nyanza, Luo Nyanza, was that the leaders of that area and the people had moved on and had embraced the new government with the president. In fact, they said very nice things about the president and about the government.
Yes.
Then in a day or two, in a matter of hours, the president goes and opens the same wound afresh by saying that people wanted to kill Chapukati.
Could there really be a logical reason why he does that?
So the president could do that because, one, he knew this report was coming.
Oh.
Yeah, to forestall it.
Okay.
Especially if there's some truth in this report. If there's truth in this report, you need something of that magnitude. To remove the wind from the sail. The sail from the wind or the wind from the sail.
The sail from the wind.
I hate these cliches.
Yeah.
You know. And indeed it has had an impact. Supposing this report was released at a time the president hadn't said what he has said about Chebukati, that would be the main thing.
So no perception with both sides.
Yes, everybody has something.
Against the other.
But of course the other reason was the president will continue manufacturing things that buy people on his side, because the situation is going to be worse and worse. Cost of living is going to be higher. People are opening schools. There's issue about the admission of Form 1. There are issues to do with fees and the junior secondary and everything so bad in this country. You will need to find something to blame Uhuru and Raila for, so that you keep buying time and moving forward in these challenging times. So even without this, it was possible the president would have come up with that as a way of continuing to get sympathy.
Oh.
Yeah.
So he's still playing the sympathy card.
Which he played and won the election. The victim card.
Yeah.
Seeking sympathy. And he won the election. Won in quotes.
If you're in Azimio's side, and now they say they have this evidence, strong evidence, bombshell, which will be revealed when Raila comes back.
Yes.
How would you advise them to handle this situation if they truly have something sustainable, something tangible, something that can't change the tide?
If it is true the election was completely stolen and the evidence is something you can't deny, it's beyond any reasonable doubt, we have to find a way of finding a conversation around it as a country. Because there will be no point going in another election with all these things still in place.
Okay.
Secondly,
how should they handle it?
You know, if I catch you in a way you can't argue about it, nimegushika kwa shamba yangu na mahindi umeiba with a sack, and I'm not alone. I have been suspecting, so I have brought people to help me. We lay you, get you red-handed, then we get you red-handed, or in somebody's house. Tunasikia unaingiaga kwa hiyo nyumba jamaa, manaka anaenda night shift. So jamaa ameenda night shift, lakini amerudi Kinjaro. Amerudi Kinjaro. Na ameita majirani na marafiki, hata marafiki wako. Huyu jamaa anaingianga kwangu. Then we get you. We don't have to beat you. Of course, beating you is the most attractive option.
Yes.
We don't have to beat you. So Kenyans don't have to go to the streets. But because now you know, and everybody knows, so we can now sit down and talk. We can now sit down and talk. And now, if you sit down and talk with the president and his government, there are options you put on the table. Number one, we can let you finish. But on the condition, like I said, we clean this thing in such a way nobody can steal an election again. And these are the things we need to do, 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
Or we can say, now that you know, you'll be acting like a caretaker government for a year. We clean the mess, put up a new IBC in a good way, and we have another election. You participate if you want.
From what we're getting,
those are options.
But from what we're getting from Ruto and Rigathi, are these options? Can they?
It depends on how viable the evidence is.
Okay.
If the evidence is something you can't deny, it's so obvious. That is the best option to you, because otherwise people spill in the streets and you still go anyway.
Yeah.
Let me, because I'm telling people like Ruto, they don't understand. This is the 21st century. You don't need more than 20,000 people in Nairobi for you to leave government. Yeah. You don't. 20,000 people in Nairobi, another 5,000 in Mombasa, 10,000 in Kisumu. You'll go. Because you can't kill them.
Yeah.
And if they have a point, a tangible point here, you stole this election. Can you dispute this? You can't.
Well,
it wouldn't be the best. We must finish by saying,
yes,
I do not think that is the route to go. I think the route to go is to solve our issues on a table. Because this is our country, all of us. Because the route of mass action, eventually, like I've said many times, benefits nobody. Not the citizens who go in the streets, not the people in government, not those forcing government out. Nobody benefits. Never. Have you seen one where people have benefited?
It's crazy.
Something happened in Sudan here. So can you tell me who benefited? Nobody ever benefits.
Yeah.
We all lose. Somebody's shop is destroyed, he'll never get it again. Somebody's life is taken away, he'll never get that life again. So nobody is ever the winner in situations of that nature. And in the interest of country and the people of this country and our children, even if this thing is found to be true, I would really ask the leaders to sit down and find a way out of the problem.
So for Herman Manyora, Ruto and Rigathi should be ready for a conversation. Till we do talk again, we'll have to wait and see what the allegations will lead to. But until we have these conversations again, have yourself a lovely rest of your day.